This is for the culture. That's right. Inventors of the fly, and you know it. That's right. Nurture the style and it's growing. That's right. This is poetry in motion. That's right. And we gon' keep it in motion, just like the ocean, float like an MC.
All right, Babe Baraka, we are at episode 8 of season 2 of Rising 60. You want to open up the show?
Sure. Yep. Welcome, everybody. Episode 8, season 2, Rising 60. On today's episode, we're focusing on April being National Poetry Month and getting ready for the harvest season. We're speaking to Newark-born award-winning poet, author Jasmine Mans. And since we are getting in the mood for spring, we'll also speak with a local community farmer, Hezare and Nefera of Grown in Fox.
Grown folks.
Grown folks.
The play on words there.
Oh, I see that. Grown folks. We talk a little bit about COVID-19. You want to talk about the Newark news and stuff like that?
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, let's start with COVID.
Yep. So you still can get tested for COVID at any one of our testing sites in Newark that we post on social media. You can still order also free COVID-19 home tests at covidtest.gov, covidtest.gov. Newark testing sites that were previously free of charge are now requiring proof of health insurance due to federal funds across America no longer being available. So you do need health insurance in order to get that. And I know the state has programs where folks can get health insurance as well. Maybe we'll get that information to you.
Yeah.
In Newark, you know, we cut a ribbon unveiling of Gant Gilbert Arts Collective on Wednesday, March 29th. It's iconic ribbon cutting. It has been a long process for us to get this done, about 6 or 7 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
that building was vacant for a while. I remember at the ribbon cutting, you did say that it's been vacant as long as you can remember.
Yeah, it was at least 40 years or so. It's been vacant, maybe more. Yep. You know, so we repurposed it, refurbished it. It's now an arts collective. Will feature 27 affordable units, performance space, on-site, 10 on-site work studios, a cafe, and community and public space that will serve as a creative hub for artists and their family. So that's going to be very exciting for the Clinton Hill section.
Beautiful building. And you said that it was constructed by a Black woman-owned construction company, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep, and of course the Mayor's Book Club has been around for some time now, but you know, we moving forward with it, so sign up. All you have to do is visit your local library. The most recent book we're reading now is called The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. And I held the latest book club gathering at Eastside High School with a few of the students there. It was a great experience. Shout out to the kids at Eastside High School. So we got a couple of more coming up soon.
So I want to talk about some trending news. So I want to hear your take on Ketanji Brown Jackson being nominated by President Joe Biden to be the first Black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. As the mayor of Newark, you've been the mayor for 2 terms so far, coming into your 3rd term soon. So what is your take on this? How does this make you feel as a Black man who's leading the city here in New Jersey? What does this mean? What does this movement mean for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think it's amazing. The first African-American woman to sit on the highest court in the land. Listen, this is a court that made separate equal, that created Jim Crow, that, you know, made it okay for us to be property and non-citizens. And, you know, with struggles and fight, it also the, you know, this is the court that also pushed Brown versus Board of Education afterwards, which decided that separate was not equal. So to have an African-American woman on the Supreme Court is a major thing for this country. And I think Ketanji Brown Jackson is an incredible pick by the Biden administration at that.
Right. I agree. And if you want to go talk a little bit about what happened with the Oscars, I don't know if you saw it, if you had time to watch it. Did you want to talk about a little bit about? Not
really. I mean, the Oscars. I mean, Will Smith got an award.
Right.
Denzel Washington was there. You know, all these people. It was great. It was a great show. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this kind of this imagery that is going to be played over and over and over again until like the dawn of a new age. They're going to play that over and over and over again for us to see.
Unfortunately, it's it's so far it's overshadowing the best part of the show, which is the fact that Will Smith worked so hard to get that award. You know.
Yeah, and then it was produced, by a black man, and the show, and the show had the most diversity in it than it ever did.
It did. Yeah.
So there's the night when we finally get some kind of representation at the level we need it at. It turns into this thing. So
yeah, that's true.
I just don't want to give it any life anymore. That's all.
Okay.
It's got a life of its own.
Right. Right. I agree. So we can go. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we introduce the first guest on the show? No. I mean, let's go. Let's get right into it. Our first guest is Jasmine Mans, who I know and is a great poet. Newark born and raised. Also graduate of Arts High School. Shout out to Arts High School. Attended college at University of Wisconsin in Madison. And most popular book, and some of her works include Footnotes for Kanye, Michelle Obama. And her most recent published book of poetry, Black Girl, Call Home. I have that actually in my house. So I have a copy too. I wish I would have bought it today. I have her sign it, maybe another time.
Yeah. So, I mean, folks, get ready for Jasmine Mans.
Yeah. Right, so as many of you may know, April's National Poetry Month, and the mayor is a poet, right, Mayor?
Yeah.
And we wanted to begin the conversation by you chronicling your journey as a poet, and starting out from Arts High School. And can you just bring us to current day? You want to talk about that?
Okay, word. Well, my name is Jasmine Mans, and I got started because my uncle William Mans was a poet, and he was a great friend to the Baraka family. And every holiday or every time, and he was also my uncle who had money. You know how you always have that one person in your family who got bread, and you're like, I just want to do what they do so I can live the life that they live. And so my Uncle Bill had this big house, and he was a poet and a lawyer. And so I saw this man and I wanted to be just like him. And so every time I would see him, he would ask me to do a poem for him. And I would just make stuff up, and I would do poetry for him. And then I would later go to Arts High School, and I would join the speech and debate team. I remember we had a substitute teacher for health class, and this old guy came in front of the classroom. His name was Halim Suleiman. And he was my substitute teacher, and everybody was being rowdy and being like high school kids with a sub. And then he just spit a poem in front of the class, and the whole class just stopped. And he was like, you should join the speech and debate team. I told him what you did was incredible, and I love it, and I got poems too. And he was like, join the speech and debate team. And he would be my coach for a year before he passed away. And so I went into Arts High School, and at the time I was in Arts High School, we also had the most award-winning debate team in the United States. We went to Harvard and Yale, and we were traveling all over the country, beating everybody in debate and in poetry. And then I later got a scholarship to go to college, and I went and I studied political science and African American literature, and I would later drop political science to focus on literature. But that was my journey coming up. And then I got a crew, and our crew traveled the world, and we would book venues for $500 or $1,000, literally from New York City to the Nuyorican to Troy Bar in London. And we would pack out and split the money between ourselves. That was kind of how I got started, how I'm still getting started.
Wow. I know that, Jasmine, you had a poetry series with the city, and I know that you and the mayor know each other. Can y'all talk about your connection? Because I know, Mayor, you're a poet, Jasmine's a poet. Can you talk about how you guys connected and knew each other a little further if you want?
Yeah.
I've known the mayor from a various different ways. I'm also friends with his daughter Amandla, and we created art together. And so before the pandemic, a year before the pandemic, the mayor said that he wanted to activate the Rotunda and bring poetry into the space, and wanted to remind people that the space belonged to the community and the poets. And so we sat and we had discussions. I remember like bringing a little pitch deck to him and saying like, this is what it's gonna look like, and this is how I'm gonna activate the space. And each week, it was I think once a month, and we performed in the space. And what was beautiful is that the mayor literally came to every show, which was so scary and also exciting as well to know that like, it wasn't just him saying activate the space, but him being a part of the space.
Right.
So yeah. And now Queen Moore is the host of this the show, the open mic, and so it's exciting to see that it's still moving.
Yeah. So it's National Poetry Month, and so you got any picks for folks who you think people should be reading right now?
Oh man, there's an incredible poet named Ocean Vuong that I absolutely love. Mahogany Browne is like releasing poetry books like every other month, and so she's hard to keep up with. And I hope people read my book if they haven't already.
Right. I was gonna say you gotta recommend your own poetry book.
Word.
Absolutely. Which is pretty good too. I like it. We were just saying we both have it.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Why? What do you think writing, for you does, and why is it so important for you to be a poet?
I think writing does two things. Writing is a discipline, and it is the thing that like I've been, like, it's the thing that has been brought into my life to remind me of myself, and to remind me of that I can accomplish things and to work hard. And so it's that thing that I work to get better at often. And so it's like some people have the discipline of like running or the discipline of cooking, but like God bless the child who has the discipline to work at something, right? It's a beautiful distraction from the rest of the world. And then it's also like, I want to write women in the canon. I want to write Black women in the canon, the narrative of girlhood in the canon. And if we don't write our narratives ourselves, they will not be written or will be miswritten. And so my poetry is just my participation and me adding the Black girl to the bigger story.
That segues into what we were talking about in terms of why you think it's important to, because a lot of your work talks about Black women and why it's important. In your mind, aside from the fact that you're a Black woman yourself, why is it important to put Black women's voice out there like that?
I think we're misrepresented, one. And so the writing in our voice and reclaiming the voice of the Black woman reminds us like we are here, and it gives the world another dynamic of who we are. And it allows us to reclaim ourselves. And the stories are beautiful. The narratives are beautiful, and they matter. And we're taught so often to be embarrassed of the story because they don't look like the European stories or the narratives, the Western stories that we see on television. And so to write the Black girl story also means to like tell the truth, but to beautify the story as well. And then there's stories that I'm realizing as like you get critical and you watch television as an adult, you realize that the story of the Black woman on television is so narrow that she looks one way, she speaks one way, and we're just getting like into a space where the story isn't that narrow. And it's like Issa Rae's Insecure was so big because you saw a Black girl being actually real. Like you saw the multiple dimensions of a regular Black girl being insecure. And that was so big and astounding because it was just honest. It wasn't like flying cars. It was just a Black girl being honest and insecure. And it took us until 2019 to even get something like that. Just a regular Black girl. Not even like the super girl. And And so I just think we all have to play our part in contributing our stories to the canon because it's versatile, it's colorful, and it's beautiful.
Hey, I agree with that. I do feel like Issa, to have a Black woman who's conscious of who she is and knowledgeable, to have her create that show was important. You know, it was important for our culture and for television. Right. Because I'm gonna talk about when I was in high school, I went out of the country for like this exchange program, and when I was there, the people didn't speak English, but what they did say to me were like derogatory terms that they seen on TV when it comes to Black women. So to have something like that out there is important, and to have people like you writing is important. So I agree with that.
Word.
Well, Mayor, you wanna?
Yeah. Where do you see the Jasmine Mans brand going 5 to 10 years from now? Like, what do you hope to accomplish?
That's a big question. I hope to publish more books. I hope to become a stronger and more successful businesswoman. I want to build a wealth that begins here in Newark. I want to build an incredible scholarship fund. So, yeah, that's a start. That's a start, but who knows?
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, especially with writing.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. Absolutely. Yeah, and so the book. Where can people get your book from? And what do you hope that they take away from the book after they read it? Like, where can they purchase it?
You can purchase the book everywhere, at Target, at Barnes & Noble, at your local bookstores. If you're in Newark, you can purchase it at Source of Knowledge. You can purchase it at the Black Home. You can purchase it at the Barnes & Nobles on Halsey Street. And I hope that this book reminds Black girls of themselves, and specifically Black girls from Newark of themselves. I was very intentional about putting nodes in the book that reminded people of Newark. And so I want Black girls to feel like how they felt when they listened to like Lauryn Hill's Every City, Every Ghetto, and they're like, oh, that's me. And so
I know that's right.
Yeah.
All right, before you leave, did you want to recite one of your poems from your book?
Oh, word.
Might as well get it in.
I wrote like 5 poems about Whitney Houston in the book. And I wrote a poem about Whitney Houston becoming a hologram. The Whitney Houston hologram goes on tour April 2020. A live band accompanies a woman who is not there like pallbearers. Black bodies still under contract. Reactivate a dead woman's social media. Promote. You don't have to be alive to make a living or a killing. Aren't we godly in our ability to reincarnate the dead? Magical in our attempt to falsify the falsetto. Criminal in our ability to steal the song right out of the casket. Make her irresistible, undying, more realistic than she ever was in her living, stuck alive, unresting, always available. We stand at her grave and demand an encore, forcing her into a godless resurrection. This is not Whitney, just the greatest hits. This Whitney does not age a bit, voice left in perfect pitch, too good to let go, too good to get over, too good to give to God. They don't give our bodies back to God. Whitney, our most favorite tragedy. They never ask you if you wanted to live again, if you wanted to sing again, gave you a second chance at life, did you a favor, saved your career, just forgot about you.
Wow, that was good. That was good. Thank you.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Good stuff. Thank you for coming on, Jasmine.
you.
Keep
Thank
doing
you.
it. Keep it up. Keep
Thank
it up.
you for having me.
Can we just get a few photos
Yeah.
with you and Nails?
So in this season of spring, if you're a gardener, you're getting ready for the harvest season by planting crops now. In Newark, we have a number of community gardens, and one of them is called Growing Folks.
Yes, sir.
Our second guest, a local community farmer, is Hessery and Nefera. I don't see his wife, but I'm sure she's with him in spirit.
Yes.
Who had a married couple whose love for each other not only is important, but also health and wellness. They own a community farm in Newark where the goal is to provide healthy, organic produce to the local community at an affordable price. Exactly what we need here in the city of Newark. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Rising 60, brother. Glad to have you.
Yes, peace and power, man. Thank you for having me. Definitely, of course, speaking on behalf of my wife, she, is feeling a little ill, so sending her powerful ashe and love, in this moment. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Yep. I pray she get better, man.
Thank you.
And I want to tell everybody listening about your community farm. Start off there.
Sure. So, my wife and I, we've been growing in Newark the past few years at local community gardens. Lincoln Park Community Garden, for one, is where we got a bit of our footing, like our grounded footing here in Newark. And that was basically during the height of COVID, after George Floyd protests and things of that nature. We found the space as a therapeutic opportunity for us to really dive into growing in a real way. We've been doing gardening in different places for a few years before that, but we really got our footing there at Lincoln Park, and then we've been going there for the past couple of years, and also in Hawthorne Community Farm as well, located Hawthorne Avenue. So from there, in that, we've been sharing out our different produce or collard greens and things of that nature with folks in the community that have been like local restaurants, nurses, things of that nature that we've been galvanizing and speaking to. And from there, we actually were able to get an opportunity working with Urban Ag, who took us around the space of a new program from Food Shed Alliance to gain some land space outside. And we were able to acquire an acre farm where we want to expand the operation of what we're doing and bring local produce back to Newark, provide a space for youth to come and understand what growing is about, understand food sovereignty, understand food justice, what that really means, what it means to grow your own food and have self-agency over yourself. What goes into your body, what goes into your mind, things like that. And then bring that education, that language, that conversation back to their homes, and hopefully become stewards and ambassadors in their homes of growing food. So that's the basis of where our gardening and our agricultural mindset have come from with growing.
Nice.
So why is it well, you kind of sort of explained it. Can you explain in a little more detail why is it important in a day and age where people kind of moved away from the agricultural way of doing things? Why is it still, I feel like now it's becoming more popular.
Yes.
People are becoming more conscious of being organic. They may have had a green juice right there. So people are really starting to get back into trying to be natural. So why do you feel like it's important? So as I was touching on it, I feel like it's really important because especially in things, for example, in the wake of things like the pandemic or any other natural things where there's a bit of pandemonium and wondering what's next. You want to know that you are able to access food. What if grocery stores close down? What if there's no way to get to food? And to understand what it means to grow your own food and where it comes from, how nutritious it is crucial. We're very big on organic, growing sustainably. We don't use any pesticides, things of that nature. So we know the importance of accessing healthy food, especially in places like Newark. Looking at the schematics of food deserts in New Jersey. And we saw that Newark is part of the top 10, and we wanted to see how we can provide and support and contribute to the space to combat food insecurity in that particular way with the food that we're growing. And I think with the understanding of what you're growing, understanding what goes into your body, you can have a stronger sense of how to operate, how to move through your space, how to make the powerful decisions to kind of translate and transform the spaces that you're in. We're very big on that. And understanding that growing food is an act of resistance.
You know, in the face of you know, systemic oppression and the things that especially Black and brown people deal with, you need a space, or you get to have a space to support you in pushing through in the face of those things. And to grow your own food, that ownership is crucial. So growing food to us is about ownership of body, ownership of self, ownership of transcendence, and, you know, in the face of just everyday struggles. So.
Yeah. And I guess you talked about why it is important to do that.
Yeah.
And if folks don't know how to, and they don't have access to a farm in their community, I mean, what's advice do you give folks?
So what we've learned a lot about is, one, it's good to get some knowledge if you don't have of the community green spaces that are available in your area. And accessing, even if it's just one bed, one little raised garden bed. If not that, if you have a terrace or a good windowsill in your home, you can start by growing some herbs. Start by growing little leafy greens and things of that nature right on your terrace or right on your windowsill. It's very possible to grow in the spaces that you're in. Despite the city, we do realize the challenges that a city landscape can bring when it comes to the idea of plant life. But
right.
It's very much possible, and getting an education. We binge YouTube a lot, and we talk to different gardeners and farmers, things of that nature. So being an open space for the education, being an open space for understanding what are the bits and pieces that I need to grow. And it could just be as simple as just, a little potted plant and soil and water and love and care and time, and then within that, there's nothing like seeing what you've grown come to fruition.
Yeah.
Smelling the onions. We just said we've been growing cucumbers and onions and things like that in the house, getting ready for the season, and just smelling even just those first seedlings, you can smell and the taste and the cilantro. It's just like it's a powerful hit to your mouth to know that you did that. You know what I mean? It just creates something to the next level in how you see what you're capable of. You know what I mean? So it can start as simple as that, even if it's just herbs. And that can build that want for more and striving for more, you know what I mean? So starting in those particular paces is a great way, for sure.
Yeah, people don't know that there's a lot of farmers in Newark like that. I mean, I know a guy who grows turnip greens, carrots, and all kind of stuff, beets.
Yep.
He grows the whole thing, got a whole produce section in his backyard.
Yeah, we grew in Hawthorne, we grew these big 18-pound watermelon, 15-pound watermelons our first time. So that was major. It's very possible to use the spaces around you to grow, and just taking that will and that time and just starting somewhere.
Yeah.
Everyone's capable. We believe that. People say, "Oh, I don't have a green thumb." It's capable. You know what I mean? It's possible. It just takes the time and the effort. So.
Yeah. So you kind of spoke about this, and so can you just tell us how people, if they wanted to donate or volunteer with growing folks with your farm, your garden, how could they go about doing that?
Sure, absolutely. So for that, they can definitely visit our website, growingfolks.com, and we have a donate button there. We also have a volunteer option there. You can just click. There's a sign-up page. We're going to be starting more volunteer days as the weather gets warmer, and working, with the other gardening spaces to kind of have people come and just be in support in that way. So there's a donate link. There's a volunteer link. You can follow us on social media as well. We post a lot there and share a lot of information there. Growing folks on Instagram and things of that nature. So there's ways to get in touch with us and learn more information about what we're doing and how they can get involved as well.
How do people buy your produce that you sell? How do they purchase it? Is it a farmer's market? How do they?
We're gonna be activating more markets as the season comes. So we'll be looking to work with, partnering with other organizations as well in the city around the farmers markets and sharing in that way. As well as once the farm operations in full investment, we'll have pick and pay options. We'll also work to build out a CSA program ultimately for where folks we can deliver directly to folks' homes, seniors, youth, families, and things of that nature. So we're looking to build those models within the space. We recently looked into the Newark grant. So, and with the support of that, we hope to expand on that program in Newark and creating more spaces for folks to get involved, especially the youth.
Okay.
Nice. Well, any last thing you want to say about what you're doing and what you expect to happen or want to happen with your farm and in Newark and so forth and so on?
Definitely. We're just really excited to again, contribute to the green space and green activity that's been taking place in Newark over the past few years, and hope to create a space for youth to, work in agricultural space, hopefully become ambassadors in their homes and in their community spaces as well, and thrive in a way that that's cultivating for them. So we do hope that people can just continue to follow us, join the journey, follow us on our social pages, and engage with us. And we would love to create more retreat space and a space of healing for folks to pull from what we're offering. So we would love to see more healing for our people.
Yeah, so we're glad to have you, man, and we appreciate you, your wife, and the work that you're doing in the city.
Yes,
and obviously we wanted to grow and expand as much as possible. So thank you for coming on with us today.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
And one more thing, I got some gifts for you if you like. So I have some plants.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
This parsley plant for you, and this one for the mayor as well.
Thank you.
And
Parsley.
Yes,
That's all right,
parsley. So
brother.
the parsley seedlings.
Yeah.
Take about 70 days to grow.
Okay.
I thought you was bringing some cannabis for a minute.
No. It's definitely parsley. It's definitely herbs. Herbs in that way for your garnishing.
Yes, sir.
And I have some drinks as well. We grow hibiscus, and
nice.
that's one of our products that we would like
Nice.
to contribute as well. As far as a productive space. Ultimately, additionally, is the programming is like. Ultimately, we would love to have a space to produce this here in Newark, and create a space for you to come work or anybody to come work and be a part of that. But we do have teas here for folks.
100%.
We can do off camera, what have you, but we have that here. So that's for you.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a couple of pictures.
Sure.
This is for the culture. That's right. Inventors of the fly, and you know it. That's right. Nurture the style and it's growing. That's right. This is poetry in motion.
All right, that was a great show, and I want to thank our guests for making this another great show for us, and thank poet Jasmine Mans and Heserian Nefera of Growing Folks. Thank you for listening, all of you folks out there today, and follow our City of Newark's Facebook page at facebook.com/City of Newark. On Twitter, our handle is at City of Newark NJ, or you can follow our Instagram account, City of Newark NJ. You can follow me on Twitter at Raz J. Baraka, on Instagram at Raz J. Baraka. You can also follow my Facebook at facebook.com/Raz J. Baraka. And thanks again for listening, and please share this episode with your social circles. Remember to tune in the next episode of Raz and 60, premiering on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. Remember, we release new episodes each first Tuesday. And use the hashtag Raz and 60 if you'd like to ask me questions or make a comment about what you've heard on the show. Post your question to social media using the hashtag RazN60. And may we resist the powers that try to oppress us, and may we love beyond measure. Jasmine Mans, poet extraordinaire.